There was never a dull moment in my childhood home. My family loved throwing extravagant parties and inviting everyone in the neighborhood. People would always come over and fill my home with the ambient sounds of a party. My house was never empty, even after the parties ended and the crowds dispersed. My house never rested. At first, I didn't pay much attention to the odd occurrences that plagued my everyday life. They never directly impacted me, and I could brush them off as something I would understand when I got older. Footsteps could be dismissed as heavy raindrops on the roof, and creaky floorboards, the effect of time on an old house. The shadows that sprung across the walls in the bedroom would only ever end up as the climbing tree in my front yard, no matter how childlike they would appear. From time to time, I would see a little girl roaming down the halls out of the corner of my eye, but I could never catch full sight of her. For a long time, I tried to tell my parents about the strange girl living with us. They thought it was cute that I had an imaginary friend, but strongly suggested I go out and make real friends, and spending time alone wasn't good for my social skills. They didn't understand. This little girl was my friend. She slept over every night, and we'd talk up until I was ready to go to sleep. Well, I'd do most of the talking. She usually just stood in the dark corner by the closet door, silently listening to me. She was a great listener, but as I got older and more curious, I wondered about the little girl in the faded blue dress. I would ask her questions, but she would never answer me. One night, her stubborn attitude upset me so much that I threw my book across the room at her, but by the time the book reached the other side of the room, she was gone and my book crashed into the closet door. My parents didn't appreciate my outburst. Neither did the little girl. After a fight, she began to make more of an attempt to be heard. She'd throw silverware on the ground and let my parents think it was me. She'd slam my door repeatedly late at night, keeping everyone awake. I stopped talking to the little girl in the faded blue dress, but I still saw her roaming the halls, and every night she would retreat to the closet in my bedroom. I stopped using the clothes I left in there, afraid to interact with her. The more I ignored her, the harder the little girl would try to be heard or seen. Her actions would eventually evolve to breaking plates and rattling the cupboards in the kitchen, and whenever she'd be nearby, I'd feel a chill rush through me. As time passed, the antics of the little girl took its toll on me, and I grew upset very easily. To help make me feel better, my parents decided to get a family pet, a gray cat with black paws that we named Misty. Misty made me feel a lot better, and when she slept in my room, I felt certain that the little girl couldn't touch me. My confidence was crushed when Misty started behaving weirdly whenever she was in my room. She was always fixated on my closet and would paw at the door trying to get inside. I guess the little girl didn't like my cat bothering her, so she decided to put an end to it. While the cat was hissing at the closet, my wall-mounted mirror suddenly fell from its hook and crushed Misty. There was nothing I could do but sit there helplessly. I knew the little girl was capable of more than slamming doors. In a desperate attempt to stop the little girl from hurting my family, one night, after I was supposed to be asleep, I moved my toy box across the room, pinned it against my closet door, and kicked it to be sure the door couldn't be opened, trapping the little girl in the faded blue dress inside. I stopped seeing the little girl after doing that. My simple trap had worked, and she was forever stuck in my closet. As time went on, I began to forget about the little girl, and when I moved out to go to college, I thought I could finally put the little girl out of my mind, and I did. I didn't think about her or anything she had done to me for years. Only when my parents wanted to move to a smaller home close to my campus was I forced to return to my childhood bedroom. My best friend Trevor and I volunteered to move my parents' things into my truck and drive it to the new home. Memories rushed back when I saw Trevor carrying my old toy box to the front yard, debating on whether I should keep the toy box for my future children or donate it to charity. At first, I didn't really think much about it, that is, until I went back to the bedroom and noticed the closet door was left open. Trevor insisted he couldn't possibly open the door as it took both arms to move the toy box, and I knew he was right. That didn't answer the deeper question burning in my mind. Who opened the door? I forced the thoughts out of my head, but moved quickly through the house and spent no time reminiscing about artifacts from my childhood, as the only thing I wanted was to be out of my childhood home forever and never have to come back. As we rounded up the last boxes of my parents' things, I stayed in the front yard sorting through piles and trying to decide what things I wanted to keep. Old broken toys, trash, a book with a dented corner from the time I threw it at my closet, a donation box, My blood froze in my veins as I dug through the pile of old clothes, only to find a faded blue dress lying at the bottom of the cardboard box. After staring at the dress for a moment, Trevor came out of the front door, his skin pale and his arms shaking. Without saying a word, I knew what happened. I knew what he saw.
The little girl in the faded blue dress is upset with you. She says that you weren't supposed to leave her.